Hey, so part four. So having kind of told you in great detail about problems that maybe you didn't even know you had, probably left you feeling terrible. Um, let's get into what we can do about this. Really, well, first of all, knowledge is power. Most people don't know this stuff. So if you know this, if you watch this video, you're already ahead of the game. Okay, that's the first thing to be aware of if you know this stuff. So take some pressure off yourself. If you feel bad about how you've been in relationships, or bad because you've not had many relationships, or bad because you've misread situations, give yourself a break. You if you're suffering, if you have these conditions, that's not your fault. That's how it's going to be. Okay, so draw a line under anything that you feel bad about from the past, and today's a new day. You can learn, you can grow, you can move on from this stuff. So the first thing I would say, especially if you're a guy, is I wouldn't say stay away from internet pornography, because who am I to tell you that. What I would say is know what you're doing. If you choose to carry on with that, then just be aware that that's a choice. Okay. And if you're starting to get some of the symptoms associated with that, or worried that you might, then start to do something about that. And there are people around to help, and there are organisations that can help. I certainly help people with that. It's a big part of my job. So get in touch with my organisation, and we can hopefully help you. One word of advice though is if you're using a lot of internet pornography and you decide to cut down a bit, that doesn't actually work. What people need to break the patterns and start enable the brain to start to return to normal is a very long, sustained period of abstinence. People that kind of cut down. So one of the worst things you can do is cut down to about 3 weekly. That actually reinforces the negative connections in the brain. It actually makes it worse. There's something about having the gap that kind of consolidates the negative change in the brain. So don't think, oh well, I've done really well, I've cut down to 3 weeks, once every 3 weeks. No, don't do that. Okay, so Gary Wilson is an expert on this, and I'll put some links to some of his videos. His videos are great. So be mindful and careful about pornography. That's the second thing I would say. Third thing I would say is it's okay to make choices about the kind of relationships you want or don't want. It's okay for you to choose that you don't want to have romantic relationships if that's how it feels. That's absolutely fine. Don't let anyone tell you how you should be. Okay. And if you're more drawn towards areas of sexual expression that are more structured, like BDSM or polytheism, did I call it pantheism before? I might have called it pantheism before, which is nothing to do with sex, that's to do with religion. Polytheism, and that's not sex with parrots either. So think about what works for you. You might find a lot of people that I've worked with find that they like to have an intimate relationship that's not sexual, or they like to have a sexual relationship that's not intimate. Okay. So the fourth thing I would say is just be mindful of how you're programming your brain. So if you're still using the pornography, or if you're using a certain amount of fantasy, and you're starting to get more and more specialised and more niche, so that you're actually only turned on by someone's mole, you eventually become not aroused by a human being, but aroused by seeing a mole. Think about where you're going with your fantasies. What we fantasize about gets reinforced in our mind, and a lot of people say that the point of ejaculation, so during masturbation, if you ejaculate while thinking about a particular thing, that's the kind of thing that you're going to reinforce in your mind. So if that's a direction you don't want to go in, then it's about training yourself to think about something different. So, for example, if you're finding yourself getting too objectified and you want to bring yourself back to human beings, to start fantasizing, about a three-dimensional, warm, real human being with a personality, rather than something that's maybe more cartoonish or more stylized. What else? Relationship skills can be learned. I mean, one of the things about things like autism, is that people do gradually learn to read facial signals and non-verbal clues. Sometimes by learning by rote, often extremely successfully. One of the biggest relationship coaches, RDS Tyler, he's got autism, and he teaches people how to find partners, effectively. So this stuff can be learned. So don't feel that it's beyond you. You get there in time. And look for help. There's lots of resources around there, especially things like, I think YouTube is great for all these things. So look on YouTube for stuff. Yeah, so avoid the dangers, really. So, and with ADHD, being maybe more specific around ADHD, you can find other ways to manage your dopamine other than through seeking sexual extremes. Okay, you can kind of bring that down. And it's, there's so many different avenues we could go off in with all of this stuff. So I hope that has helped. If you're left troubled by any of this, get in touch. Hopefully we can help you in one way or another. It might be by coming for some therapy, or it might be by just a bit of conversation in the comments, or you can email me or contact me through the website. The earlier you get this information, the better. Most people get this information late in life, after their whole life of mistakes. If you're a young person and you're watching this, then you've done yourself a huge favour, because you can save yourself a whole lifetime of grief. You can get in control of this stuff and improve your life. The other thing as well is that being ADHD and being autistic is as much a gift as it is a challenge. And the best and most creative, most amazing human beings that have ever lived have had these things: ADHD, autism, dyspraxia, dyslexia, you name it. Think Einstein. Think almost every stand-up comedian that you've enjoyed. Think about people that make fantastic soldiers and ambulancemen and women, police officers. The creativity, the arts is just absolutely chock full with people with autism. There probably wouldn't be genres like science fiction if there weren't people with autism. People with autism make great researchers. People with ADHD think outside the box, so they come up with unique solutions. They communicate things in different ways. So it's kind of endless. So you do have some challenges if you have these conditions, and I think you deserve some help. And I wish there was more help around. One of the things that I'd like to do at some point is train as an ADHD coach, and so I can help people more specifically and with more specific ways with that. But there is stuff around, and do have a look at the links I'll put below. So I hope this is helpful. We'd really love to hear your comments on this. If you agree, disagree, think I'm talking nonsense, I've got a different way of looking at it, or if you've got any questions, or if you've got, also likewise, if you've got any good resources around this stuff that you want to share with other people, because this is about helping people and getting the word out. I'm going to do much more about sex. One of the things I want to do is a demystifying sex for young guys who are about to enter into the world of sex, debusting all the myths. Busting all the myths, demystifying everything. Looking forward to doing that one. So it's everything, everything that older guys, old dogs like me wish they knew when they were starting out but didn't. That's going to be a really good one. I'm probably going to be talking more about various aspects of sexual harm. Because it's a field that I work in, preventing sexual harm. We'll be talking more about that. So there's going to be lots more sex on this channel. So look out and get ready to enjoy that. My voice is now going. You'll probably be glad to hear this wasn't a short video after all, because we're now nearly 10 minutes. I am going to say goodbye and Rangimarie. Rangimarie.